want to go over tip selection and when to change it, when not to. Right now things are a bit out of hand of people changing good tips and putting them over here and not really using the tips all the way. Each one of these tips is about $10 in every box, so keep that in mind when you're changing these. You have to sign them out and put a requisition against a job. Electrodes. This is an electrode. These get worn out. You can see there's a divot in the center that looks pretty deep. This is an example of a worn tip, and this is too far gone. This is garbage, so this goes into a scrap copper bin. This one here, usually it's a 30-second nib down that tells you it's too far gone. This is still good, so this can be reused and we can keep using this because there's no sense replacing it. As far as these tips go, this one here is used and it's abused. This tip's blown up, so you're not going to be able to use this one. But this one here looks pretty brown. It looks good. It probably just needs a bit of clean on the top, and it should be good to continue to use. Obviously, if you're cutting something really critical, it makes sense to maybe put a new tip in. But if you're just cutting foot plates and stuff, maybe without holes, reuse these. Okay. Yep. So this one here we can clean up. We can grab a wire brush, clean it up a bit, make sure things are okay. Grab the tip cleaners. You can use this little sanding tip. And you don't need to spend forever on it because it might not be worth it, right? But you just want to get the major shit off of it. So that looks a bit better if you wanted to. Something like that. So that should be good to run. If you were a bit concerned, you wanted to get some stuff off it, use the wire brush and this, and you should be good. Here's a blown out fine cut. Now if a fine cut touches the plate, 9 times out of 10, sometimes that's all it takes for it to get ruined. It's got a divot, the hole isn't round anymore. This one here was pulled out of the used box, and you can see the hole looks pretty good. Probably just needs to dust up with the wire brush, and maybe you just pass a little brush through there, but you can definitely see when your arc is projecting from the torch, if it's angled or something. If it's sometimes if it's angled, it has some spatter in the little hole, but over time, maybe halfway through the cut, it kind of clears up. So sometimes it doesn't make sense to throw it out every time it does that. But if you're cutting a bunch of holes or you're trying to do something precise, yeah, I understand that. But if you're just cutting rough profiles and gussets and stuff, this would be fine. You can see it's got the hole looks pretty circular, and could maybe just leave a cleanup and that'd be it. This is a shield here, and this one's actually pretty clean. But if you look at this one looks a bit dirty, right? So what you can do, again, a lot of plasma cutting is proper airflow. So you can just clean this off. It's very odd that we replaced these shields. They'd have to be really far gone, but you keep it clean. I dropped the consumables out of it, and you can look at the holes and make sure things are going through all right. This one's a bit gummed up just because it hasn't been cleaned properly. So again, if you're looking for a good cut quality, you get the spatter and the slag off of this, and you're going to get a better cut just from proper gas flow. So you can see, just sometimes you just got to knock it off. The more that's on there, the more it's going to multiply. And you want to be careful when you pass the tip cleaners through it, because you don't want to oblong the holes, but you can hold this up to a light and look at the holes and make sure there's air going through it. Sometimes you just gotta, or there's light going through it. Sometimes you just get a wire brush and push the slag in. So all these pieces here, this is your fine cut, this is your 80, this is 100 amp, and it goes across. Some are just missing here, we're just cleaning them out. But keep things organized, don't mix parts up, because your swirl rings and all this other stuff, like this plastic swirl ring here is different sizes. You can see the 80 amp electrodes and the fine cut are the same length, but other than that, that's pretty much the only transferable part. So keep that in mind. There's a parts list up here, and then there's also a description on how when things are worn out. So make sure you please follow the sign out sheets. If you're using these consumables, sign the material out. Even if you don't know the cost, if you're using 2 tips, if you pull it from here, if you blow it up, sign it out, put it on a material requisition sheet or your T-sheets. That's your responsibility if you're using this machine.